My name's Rafael, you watch Rock Roll Garage, and today I'm going to explain why the other eras of Black Sabbath were not part of the band's final show at the Villa Park in Birmingham, their hometown. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. Well, a couple of years ago, when the band reunited for the last time, right? But Bill Ward wasn't part of that reunion. Only Geezer, Tony Iommi, and Ozzy did that reunion tour and released the album 13, their final studio album. And then the final tour, which was called The End. Geezer Butler revealed at the time in an interview that at that moment, and I believe this continued, obviously, the name Black Sabbath was owned only by Ozzy and Tony, okay? And that's why I believe it's because of everybody blames Sharon for everything, Ozzy's wife and manager. But from their side, the other 50%, it wouldn't be good for them if Black Sabbath kept promoting the other eras of the band, which were, obviously, we had Ronnie James Dio, and we had other singers like Ian Gillan, Tony Martin, the most well-known, Glenn Hughes. And if the band kept promoting that, it wouldn't be good for Ozzy, because if you think about it, there were many other albums without Ozzy. I'm not sure if it was quite of the same thing, if they did more albums with Ozzy or without him, but it was quite, leveled, and I believe that's why they won't be part of the reunion and of the final show. And as you can see in these images I'm showing, for years and years and years already, probably more than a decade, all the other eras of Black Sabbath were kind of erased and ignored from the band's official website and official social media. And if you go in Black Sabbath's official website, you're only gonna find stuff about the original lineup. Only stuff about the original lineup, if as if the band didn't exist without Ozzy. So and on the social media, you're only gonna see posts and photos of Ozzy's era in the band. And I think this is absolutely horrible, because as a Black Sabbath fan, they're my favorite band, and I'm talking about a fan here. Tony Iommi was the heart and soul of the band, in my opinion. All the four members were quintessential, crucial, obviously. Geezer Butler wrote the lyrics, was an amazing, he is an amazing bass player. Bill Ward, his drumming was absolutely phenomenal, and Ozzy was extremely important as well, with the melodies and the singing and etc. But without Tony Iommi, I don't think Sabbath would be as strong as it is. Without those guitar riffs, without those solos, without all those incredible riffs, he's the riff master. He is, in my opinion, the heart and soul of Black Sabbath. And he was the only one who kept going through all these decades. He kept the band alive. They fired Ozzy. They invited Ronnie James Dio to be part of the band, and they created a huge classic. And I mean, why I think this is terrible for fans like us, because obviously there are people who believe only the Ozzy era was good, and there are people who even prefer the Dio era, and even like the other eras too. And there are people like me who like all the eras because of Tony, because the riffs are still there. The songs might not, the Tony Martin era is not as good as the original one or the Dio one, but the riffs are still there. They're still good songs. They're not, perfect, incredible classics like they did with Ozzy and Dio, but they're still good songs. And it's really sad that these other eras will not be there, and it's really sad they were cited, because if you go to Tony Iommi's official website, and official YouTube channel, the Tony Martin era stuff are only there, you know. The video clips are not on Sabbath's official channel, the Tony Martin era. They're only on Iommi's YouTube channel. And if you go to, although they are in the streaming services, they are featured there, the albums and etc., the whole history of the band. But if you go to Black Sabbath's official website, you're not going to find anything about Tony Martin, anything about Dio. You're only going to find those other eras, Ian Gillan as well. You're only going to find that on Tony Iommi's website, as if those other eras were like Tony Iommi's solo years, you know? He wasn't solo, it was Black Sabbath. He was the only one who stayed in the band and kept the band going. And I see it's got not the same, you know, it wasn't as successful as the other eras and etc. And I think it's terrible because this has been done for years and years and years. And I get it, you know, for example, in not promoting the Tony Martin era because it wasn't the most successful era of the band. But you know what really gets me? It's about Dio. You know, it's about Ronnie, because if you look at 2006 when the band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, only the 4 original members were inducted. And I mean, although Dio only recorded 3 studio albums with the band, Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules a little less, but Heaven and Hell is one of the most important heavy metal albums of all time. One of the biggest classics we ever had. And to this day, Ronnie James Dio was not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He should be, Rainbow should have been there. And he obviously should be there with Rainbow. And he should have been inducted with Black Sabbath. But as I said, I believe this didn't happen because of this, you know, 50% deal. You know, the other 50% are with Sharon and Ozzy. And obviously, it wouldn't be good for them if this show also showed the other eras of Black Sabbath. And other thing that I'm not really particularly happy with it. I'm a huge fan of Ozzy. I'm a huge fan of his solo career. He's one of my favorite artists. But when it comes to Black Sabbath, man, I think, you know, it's okay to, and it's important to play Ozzy songs before. But, you know, in a few posts, it's being dubbed as like Ozzy's farewell show, you know. Sometimes they get Ozzy a little bit like above Sabbath, and I don't like that. You know, I think it's not good for fans. It's not something we accept that well, you know. So I just wanted to make this video to explain a little more why the other eras of Black Sabbath were not featured here. And it's a sad thing, but obviously, thank God this is gonna happen. This happened, and you know, at least we got the music and we can celebrate this wonderful, incredible band and all the amazing eras of the group, not only the incredible era with Ozzy. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.